Are you at your wit's end because your partner is ignoring you? Like you just can't keep their attention, they're going somewhere else, and you are so desperately wanting to keep them with you? You know, let's talk about what might be going on here and what we can do to switch it up, make things better for yourself. Stay tuned. Hey y'all, my name is Carrie Sutras and I give sex and relationship advice with my BIPOC and queer folk in mind. And I'm so glad that you are here right now to spend some time with me, and let's talk about what it is when your partner may be ignoring you, because I know that's a really challenging space. But before we get into it, please like and subscribe to my videos, because this is really good information that I think really should be out there. We need to be talking about this stuff. And I also love when you hit that bell, we get to vibe. We get to do this all the time because you know exactly when my videos are going to be on. So please hit the bell, man. Hit the bell. Hit the bell. So, as I was saying, it's a tough space when you're feeling really ignored by your partner. When the person that you just give all you are to, and you want them to do the same, and you are not connecting, it feels like a terrible space to be in. I just want to lend and send to you that, you know what? It sucks. I'm going to acknowledge that it does. It feels terrible when you can't make this connection work. But I also want to offer to you that it doesn't have to always stay this way, and that it's so okay that you're feeling a little crappy about it. It's okay. What can you do though to fix it or to offer some sort of solutions in it? That's what we're going to talk about today. You know, when we get involved with our partners or in relationships, we don't talk a lot about what brought us there to begin with. And what I mean by that is, yes, we feel love or we feel attraction, and you know, you felt drawn to this particular person, but what was involved in that draw? What brought you to this person? Very often, it's a little known thing that we don't talk about, but I think it's so important, is you had a developed attachment style. What do I mean by that? Well, when you were little, you learned how you wanted to be loved. And sometimes it was good, and sometimes it may not have been. And it shows up in the very way that you're in the experience of your relationship right now. And so let's dive in a little bit there. A lot of the time, there are experiences where when you were a little person, like maybe in your toddler stages around 2 or 3, and you wanted to be loved, well, you might have found that you weren't always met in the way that you wanted to be. A lot of the time, there are experiences where when you were a little person, like maybe in your toddler stages around 2 or 3, and you wanted to be loved, well, you might have found that you weren't always met in the way that you wanted to be. You may not have been met by your caregiver in a full and whole way that met exactly all the way that you needed to be loved. When you were 2 and 3 years old, being loved and feeling secure is your first and fundamental thing that we need. And sometimes our caregivers do their best, but they may not have been able to meet you 100%. So one of the ways that you might have found worked for you to get a little more attention was that you got really loud and needy, or if you were like me, I was prone to temper tantrums. I really know now that a lot of that was because I felt insecure and not safe. But when I made a lot of noise, it made my parents respond to me immediately. And so even with myself, I developed this really loud way of getting my needs met and making noise when I wanted to be loved. Now, it causes and can create a space which is called a preoccupied or anxious attachment style. And it's not that unusual. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. But what I know is that I'm now in awareness that this is how I feel. and it's really helped me tons fix my relationships today. If you have an anxious or a preoccupied attachment style, often what you'll find is that words like needy come up a lot with you. Or, sometimes desperate come up a lot with you. You find that you're often pursuing somebody loving you. You often find that it's a space of you're wondering if you're going to get the phone call next, or if your partner's going to tell you they love you today, or you may feel just, not appreciated often, and you need to hear it or you need it demonstrated to you a lot. I know I do, a lot. When you are needy, or that word is a space you sit in, or sometimes even demanding comes up, it can be tough because you're just trying to get that love need met, and it can be misunderstood. And a lot of the times you may find that you turn over relationships because people don't always get it, and it may come off as a little pushy or forceful. Yeah, I've had that happen to me. I've had it happen to me. Guilty. A lot of the times too, when you have a preoccupied attachment need, you attract somebody who's opposite to you. There's a real strong attachment to, of course, an avoidant attachment style. Do you see where I'm going with this? What do you think that's about? When you have an avoidant attachment style, you did the opposite to what I might have done as a child. You might have wanted your needs met by your caregivers, and you felt that you weren't getting enough love, but you decided you weren't even going to bother with it. You just shut it down. You decided that it's not worth getting loud and angry about. You went the opposite way, and you just got quiet and left it. And I mean, that's not always a bad thing. Don't take it that way. Often happens with people who have developed an avoidant attachment style is that they're incredibly independent. They're very self-reliant. They know that they can do for themselves, and they've actually really been successful because they are independent thinkers. They do for themselves and they keep going. They don't really need a lot of the mushy stuff out there. Sometimes with people who are avoidant in their attachment styles, though, they may have issues really creating close relationships with people. Sometimes they can be kind of out there. They are promiscuous because you have needs. You definitely want to be loved, whether we want to admit it or not. Love is a very basic biological need, and so is closeness. We were built with this need that comes from way back because when we were, developing or evolving, it was an evolutionary fact that if you weren't with your clan or your clique, you could die. Being alone wasn't a good thing. So it's built in biologically. Anyway, if you have an avoidant attachment style, chances are you may find yourself not necessarily picking up cues, I like to call them, of your partners, because you don't always feel you need to feel love. A lot of the times, if I was to ask you how you're feeling right now, you will respond, I'm good, because you genuinely aren't necessarily connecting in to what else you might be feeling. It's just not something you do. You shut that part of yourself down a while back. But that doesn't mean you can't connect to it again. And that's what we're talking about here today. 2, a preoccupied attachment style and an anxious attachment style normally will connect and love each other. And it will work in a lot of ways because both people want the same thing. Both attachment styles still want to be loved. Because remember I talked about all that stuff about it biologically being in there. It's so good. It's true, right? So the preoccupied attachment style, though, will hold on and do the pursuing. They're the ones that will bring in, all the ideas and ways that they want to be loved. And of course, when it feels good and right for an avoidant style, they'll respond, it'll give them a lot of what they need. But what'll happen is sometimes if things fall off the rails, if there's been too much, sometimes it can cause triggers for somebody who's avoidant, that they don't want to be that close because innately they learned that at the end of it, there's an insecurity that may exist, that at the end of it, they didn't get all their needs met originally. And so getting too close may cause some problems. And the avoidant person then will be triggered. And that trigger that comes from being preoccupied then now will intersect and you get a bomb, because they get loud, they run. You got a problem. They get loud, they run. It's not a great fit. How do you pull it back on side? Well, a part of doing that is about being in awareness of what style you have. If you have a partner and you're noticing that they're pulling away and you're running after them, take a look at what's going on with that. Maybe start doing some research on your own. A really great way to really start to investigate and look at new ways for you to be able to connect in when you notice what your different attachment styles is a great book that I'm going to recommend to you. It has literally saved my life and my relationship. It's called Hold Me Tight by, let me check, Dr. Sue Johnson. She was the fundamental developer of what is called emotional foundation therapy, and it is a breakthrough way of two couples being able to come together and know what their cycles are, know what their triggers are, know what their attachment styles are, and put some things back together. I can't say enough about that book. Sue is a lifesaver, y'all. Sue is a lifesaver. And talking about books and being in awareness, another great way, and I think honestly the best way, is just stopping and recognizing that help is not a weakness. Go get a good therapist. Find a good therapist who is trained in emotional foundational therapy and or attachment therapy, so that you can get a really good foundation on how to recreate a new space and a new way of being with your partner. Love isn't easy. Love is challenging. But with this new way of looking at things, you guys can really come through anything and it will work out, even if it feels like it's impossible right now. I just want to offer to you, take a deep breath. COVID has made things really tough if you're watching this through that time. I know it's hard, but I want you to know it is not impossible. You can make this work. And if you are still feeling the vibe, please, I am offering a series of relationship sessions with my girl Jyoti of Jyoti Creative. We are offering some healing sessions for relationships for our couples who are really wanting to learn some new tools and ways of being in relationship. If you click another link below, there's probably a couple in there. You will be able to sign up for some of our free sessions where we're going to be playing around with this space, learning about what it is. And if you are here in up until January or February, we are going to be holding a 6-week series. So click on the link to get on that link. It is your time now. It's not impossible to fix. It never is.